Alright, how's it going everyone? Welcome to this UFC 322 predictions video. Gonna have a rundown of the main card and throw my hat to the ring with some predictions. Good things to note straight away. I'm relieved that the Bo Nickal fight was turfed from the main card. Bo Nickal was scheduled to stink up another fucking main card pay-per-view. He was due to take on Rodolfo Vieira, but he's since been relegated down to the prelims. Beautiful. He's a marauder. Fucking get that shit off there. I mean, there's a couple of fights on those prelims that could easily be bumped up in place of Nickal and Vieira. Looking at Roman Kopylov and Gregory Rodriguez, that'll be a fucking really good fight at middleweight. So main card, we've got Beneil Dariush taking on Benoit Sanit-Denis. We've got Leon Edwards taking on Carlos Prates. Sean Brady squaring off against Michael Morales. Valentina Schevchenko looking to defend a flyweight title against a new challenger to the division, moving up in weight as Zhang Weili. And the main event of the evening, the Welterweight Championship on the line. Jack Della Maddalena looking to make his first title defense against a relinquishing the lightweight belt, Islam Makhachev, and moving up to try and capture double champ status. Makhachev looking absolutely fucking yoked. Fucking welterweight. God, I've been excited for this card. You know, we've had two Apex cards to sort of slop through, and we're finally here at this pay-per-view. So just for visual stuff on screen, we're going to have Jack Della Maddalena and Makhachev knock 7 bells of shit out of each other for our viewing pleasure, just for something visual to look at on the screen. And they're going to be locked into UFC purgatory, just constantly going at it while we make this main card predictions video. Alright, so the first fight on the card then, on the main card at least, Beneil Dariush taking on Benoit Sanit-Denis at lightweight. This is going to be a good fight, I feel. I mean, Benoit coming off his last 2 performances. Let me just pull up, I'm just on my laptop looking at the UFC website as we speak. 2-win streak for Benoit Sanit-Denis. His last one, he submitted Mauricio Hufi in round number 2, and before that, another submission win. It was against Prepelech, I think it was Canadian lad. And then prior to that, he lost to a pretty bad beating to Renato Moicano. But yeah, 2 wins back on the horse after getting badly beaten up by Moicano for Benoit. And what about Dariush? When was the last time we saw him? Taking a quick look. Got a win over Moicano in his last outing by decision. Prior to that, he lost to Ahmed Sarukian by KO in round number 1. And then prior to that, he was KO'd by Charles Oliveira, also in round number 1. I mean, 2 good grapplers here about to go at it. Dariush kind of, I mean, he has had some knockouts to his credit, Dariush, but he's kind of known for his submission prowess and his grappling. But then again, so's Benoit, isn't he? You know, Benoit's a battle-tested war dog, I like to think of him. He just, I mean, you know, former fucking French Special Forces. This guy knows what it's like, literally, to go behind enemy lines and fucking have wars, you know what I mean? It's a really good grappler, I think, but sometimes, I mean, I love watching him just go hell for leather and just go completely super reckless mode and just start throwing fucking haymakers at his opponent, you know, when he just gets into those, like, wars like he did with Poirier. You know, went in there and fucking high-kicked Matt Travola. But some of his most dangerous work, I think, is using that craziness in the hands to set up his grappling, like initiating his takedowns and then getting the fight to the ground. But it's whether Dariush is going to be... I think Dariush might be too crafty for him on the ground. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting grappling affair. I don't know. Maybe it might save Benoit to keep this on the feet and turn it into a sort of a wild scrap. You know, Dariush has had some nice KOs before. Or, I mean, how old is he now, Dariush? In the back end of his career now. You know, coming off a decision. Benoit coming off 2 submission finishes. I'm going to say Benoit Sanit-Denis by TKO or knockout. I could just see this getting wild. You know, like I say, Beneil might be a bit too much of a crafty vet, to quote Lucas Tracy. You know, on the ground, Beneil might have a bit too much craftiness up those sleeves. And Benoit might just... I mean, the thing is, when Benoit turns it into a wild scrap, that's when he's open to be KO'd, I feel. You know, he just comes in, just wading forward, just uncorking hammers. But I'm going to go Benoit by a... I mean, I'm going to say TKO victory in maybe back end of the first round, early second round. And I'm going to go with that before I start second guessing myself. Next fight on the card in the welterweight division, we've got Leon Edwards taking on Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates being the only one recently out of the fighting nerds to get a win. A couple of the fighting nerds getting fraud checked lately, mainly Mauricio Hufi and that absolute bell end Gene Silva. And Leon Edwards coming off his last loss to Sean Brady, I think. He was also on the card, yeah. Submission, 4th round submission loss to Sean Brady. And then prior to that, he lost his welterweight title to Belal Muhammad. So Leon on a bit of a losing skid here. And to be honest with you, I think Leon's in for another ass whooping. Like, I mean, maybe not an ass whooping, but I don't think he's going to win the fight. I think Carlos Prates is a better striker than Leon. He's got more knockout power, I think, Prates. I know Leon, you know, KO'd fucking Kamaru Usman, but, you know, it's a fucking head kick, isn't it? You know, he'd hit anyone with a solid fucking shin to the chin head kick, and they're getting rocked at the very least, you know, but, you know, Leon got fucking wobbled by, you know, volume puncher fucking Nate Diaz, you know what I mean? And Carlos has, like, finished some, you know, tough people. Fucking finished Charles Radke with that beautiful step-in knee to the body. Knocked out Neil Magny with a nice shot. Couldn't quite finish, what's his name? The Cookmaster, Ian Gary. Couldn't quite finish him, to everyone's dismay. But I just feel like Carlos has got the better striking on the feet. I mean, Leon, I mean, for a lad coming out of the UK, I think he's got decent wrestling. You know, the UK lad's primarily not known for the, you know, homebred wrestlers. That's more like of an American thing and an Eastern Europe thing. But UK tends to grow strikers, you know, by nature. And Leon's wrestling is pretty decent, I think, you know. And one thing that Carlos might have to look out for if he's trying to get close into the clinch and land these to the body or whatever, or, you know, uses Muay Thai. Leon likes to clinch up and then exit the clinch with that right elbow. He really likes to do that. And it's worked for him a lot, just sneaking that right elbow in, more so off the clinch break, like when they're about to separate. So Carlos might have to be mindful of that, but I feel like Carlos is going to, like, be using his range here. You know, he's going to be, like, firing in the low kicks, using those long straight punches that he likes to use. Maybe teeps to the body, head kicks, and Leon's probably going to have to get close to land any of his any boxing or initiate any grappling. But yeah, I'm going to go with Prates. I'm going to go with, I mean, is he going to finish Leon? Have we seen Leon get finished? But I think submission, I think Brady was the only one to do it, wasn't he? So far, to actually finish Leon. I don't think Leon's been knocked out, or like I say, Nate Diaz fucking almost had him out of there. Had him on Queer Street for sure. I mean, maybe Leon might be a bit too elusive. I don't know. If Prates lands on him, like, I mean, if Nate Diaz is wobbling Leon, I think Prates can wobble him if he finds the chin. I'm going to go 3rd round stoppage, so a TKO victory for Carlos Prates. I should say decision, really. I can see this going to a decision. But I'm going to go Carlos Prates with the 3rd round TKO over Leon Edwards. Moving up the card, more welterweights going at it. The number 2 ranked Sean Brady taking on the number 8 ranked Michael Morales. Sean Brady, like I say, his last victory was over Leon Edwards in a fucking dominating 4th round ass whooping. Like I say, submitted him in the 4th round. Prior to that, he finished, went to a decision with Gilbert Burns. And then prior to that, he submitted Kelvin Gastelum in round 3. And then Michael Morales, this lad's a bit of a prospect, like he's definitely on the radar for one to watch, maybe eventually going towards title contention. I could see this lad, if he carries on the way he's going, fighting for belts. You know, he's got something in him, this lad, I feel. Last 3 wins are all, last 2 wins are stoppages, and then prior to that it was a decision. He last defeated Gilbert Burns, 1st round TKO, 3:39 of the 1st. Prior to that, it was a 1st round TKO over Neil Magny, 4:39. Neil, the journeyman Magny, who's actually been racking up some wins lately, which is insane. And then prior to that, Morales decision Jake Matthews. So, I mean, Morales, I think, is definitely the taller fighter there. Brady's kind of got that short, stocky Rogan build. looking to get inside, to utilize his wrestling, maybe, you know, get inside to land the shorter range boxing. You know, you got to get past those long arms, though, of Michael Morales. You know, Brady might be more suited to trying to use his boxing to set up his wrestling, or use his wrestling to set up his boxing. You could interchange that. You can swap it around, you know, try and get the opponent guessing with whatever the second one is, you know, get them thinking about hands, firing in some boxing, getting their attention on the boxing, and then use that to go in to shoot in for the legs, or start faking their takedowns, changing levels to get them thinking about the takedown, and maybe come upstairs with shots to the head. You know, it can be switched around both ways, and it can be effective both ways. But he's got to get past those. I mean, if Michael is, he's long, he hits hard, he's got those long wide shoulders with those long arms at the end, it generates a lot of power. You know, might catch Brady coming in, you know, Brady just might be getting stung on the end of those like pole arm straights. You know, there's always knees up the middle to look out for. If you're trying to close the gap, uppercuts up the middle as well, if you're changing levels. I mean, this might be I mean, Brady's sitting at the number 2 ranked position, but this might be an upset here. I mean, not an upset, but like Michael Morales might be trying to take away Sean Brady's number 2. I'm almost at the title, you know, chance. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to go Morales with this one. I think there's something special in this lad, and well, maybe that might get exposed in this fight if Brady can handle him in convincing fashion. But I'm going to go Michael Morales, and I'm going to go a finish for Michael Morales. I think he might catch Brady at some point, either coming in or just keeping the fight at range and Brady not being able to get close to do anything effective. I'm going to go second round TKO or KO for Michael Morales. Co-main event of the evening, Women's Flyweight Championship on the line. Valentina Schevchenko looking to defend against new contender to the division, or new challenger of the title to the division, Zhang Weili, after relinquishing her strawweight belt. And now Mackenzie Darnold was gifted that, fighting what's her fucking name, Vina Janjidoba. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what Weili is like at this weight. You know, she was already pretty well built at the weight below. She was muscular, you know, she was strong, she had good power, you know, she finished Joanna. You know, she was good wrestling, good submissions, pretty well-rounded. And it's going to be interesting to see if moving up now, she has even more power. I mean, does she sacrifice any speed in her movements? You know, Valentina's pretty quick. Valentina, you know, not really so much ironing Gales out. Lately, I think the last big finish I remember from Valentina in terms of knocking someone out was that head kick victory over Jessica Eye. And, you know, Jessica Eye's not like top tier in the women's division. You know, she just got to fight for the title. I'm fighting for the title, as Leon Edwards would say, but like, you know, Jessica Eye wasn't really like gonna finish Valentina Schevchenko, let's face it. I mean, Valentina, like I say, she likes in the later stages of her career, she likes to like get in close, use her wrestling, get the fight to the ground, you know, do that sort of women's MMA headlock takedown. She's sort of very good at that. And look for his submissions, or maybe locking up crucifixes on the ground, or, you know, landing short, like fight finishing shots. Oh, I'd like to see killer Valentina come back, you know, the old Muay Thai Valentina, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get the job done. But as she got the power to finish Zhang Weili, I mean, I think she probably, I mean, you know, if you land the right shot, you know, it's anyone can be KO'd. You know, Rose caught Weili with a sort of lead left head kick at very short range, and Weili went down, and, you know, Rose finished the fight. Didn't have that much of a wind up on it. It was just one of those head kicks. It just catches you unawares. The fight that you don't, the shot that you don't see coming is the one that finishes you most of the time. I mean, is this going to be the end of Valentina's reign? I feel like, you know, opponents that she's had, you know, Alexa Grasso beat her, but I think that she only beat her because that was a mistake on Valentina's part, going for that spin, and she exposed her back, and Alexa took the back, you know, and then Valentina won the fight in the rematch, you know, and Alexa didn't look like she was in that fight at all. You know, Valentina just like a no mistakes Valentina, just fucking dominated, you know. From what I remember, I might have to go back, maybe not dominated, but I've only watched the fight once. But, I mean, is it going to be the end of Valentina's reign, or is she going to continue to hold this belt. Like, I'm sick of hearing it fucking say that. I'm going to go, I think we need fresh blood in this division, and I'd like to see a new champion in this division, and I'd like to see Weili get the victory here, and I'm going to go with Weili. I think maybe those forward rushes that Weili likes to do, you know, Valentina likes to sort of stand there and sort of, I don't know, actually that might play into Valentina's strength. She likes to counter fight a lot, you know, standing there and wait for you to make the first move and counter, you know, do the counter punching or counter kick and whatever. I mean, fuck it, I'll just go Weili Zhang by decision. I think she's probably going to have, if it does go to a decision, I think she's, I'm saying that, what's the cardio going to be like actually moving up to flyweight? What's the conditioning going to be like putting on some size? And I mean, we'll have to, I'm just going to go Weili. I'm going to go Weili decision. I'm going to say she's going to have more Lucas Tracy grit and determination to land some scoring shots to make the judges see it her way. You know, maybe get some more takedowns, some body locks, or women's MMA headlock takedowns. I mean, yeah, I'm going to just go with Weili Zhang by decision. And then the main event of the evening, Islam Makhachev welcomed to the welterweight division to try and dethrone current champion. And looking, I mean, what a fucking Dark Souls hard mode first defense this is for fucking Jack Della Maddalena. I mean, I can't think of a more hard first title defense for anyone in recent years. I mean, this is fucking Jack is playing on hard difficulty here. Like, fucking getting Makhachev straight away in your first defense. This is hard work for this lad, you know. And Makhachev's fucking beast, isn't he? You know, he's just like, everyone just thought initially he was like another Khabib clone. And I mean, we'll look at on screen here what potentially might happen in the fight. Islam Makhachev just taking Jack's arm here in the on-screen footage. But yeah, Makhachev is his own man. He's not a Khabib clone. He's actually an improved version of what Khabib was. You know, like Khabib was just, when I think of Khabib, I just think of primarily a grappler, and you know, a damn good grappler at that. He was really good grappler. There's no taking that away from him, but he was lacking in the stand-up. And not to say he didn't have any stand-up, you know. I always think of that just big fucking wild right that he landed on Conor in their fight, and that doesn't mean his striking is good. It just means he caught Conor with a fucking overhand, you know, like, and fair play. Conor didn't even go down. He just fucking went to his, like a squat position, kind of caught him off guard a bit. Well, yes, I don't think of world-class striker when I think of Khabib, but when I think of Makhachev, I think of his striking has come up to where his grappling is, and he's very fucking well-rounded now, you know what I mean? It's like, there's none of this discussion now of like, oh, Makhachev's just gonna, he doesn't want to strike with you. He just wants to take you down because his striking isn't good enough now. His striking is good enough now. You know, he can keep the fight on the feet if he wants. And, you know, with his finishes over Volkanovski, and, you know, he had a good showing against Dustin Poirier. Like, arguably outboxed Poirier. And, you know, until eventually submitting him. Like, he can keep the fight where he wants. You know, his kicking game is really, you know, he's a strong puncher, but he likes to throw kicks, especially head kicks. And, you know, we all know what happened with Volkanovski there, like, you know, and I mean, if he lands, what's it like for Islam coming up again? The same thing that we were talking about with Weili. You know, is the bulk that he's bringing into the fight going to hinder him or help him? Is he going to lose his explosiveness? Is he going to lose any speed? I mean, he should be gaining power, you know what I mean? And he was already ironing guys out at lightweight in his last few title defenses. I mean, you know, we all know what Jack's going to look to do. Jack's going to look to keep it on the feet and just JDM the shit out of, like, Makhachev's body, and, you know, those body shots, and he's like, JDM, 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 to the fucking body, to the liver, to the spleen. That's one of the reasons I love Jack so much. I love fighters who go to the body with punches, and Jack does that in spades. Is he going to be able to do that against Makhachev, though? You know, I mean, depends what kind of game plan Islam's coming in with, I think. You know, my primary thinking is, what's Islam going to do? And I think Islam's going to be like, do you know what? I think he's even said, like, he's not got many fights left in him before he decides to retire. And I feel like he could even retire after winning this. If he wins the belt tonight, he might just fucking retire. He might go, do you know what? job done. There's 2 belts in the bag. I'm fucking done. I'm out. You know what I mean? Maybe not. Maybe he'll choose to defend it. Let's see whether he wins convincingly at welterweight. He might stay there for a bit and try and defend for 2 or 3 fights and then retire. But if, let's say, I mean, I'm just thinking he's just going to go in there and think, I'm just going to get this over as quickly as possible. I don't want to get into a war. And the way I get this done quickly as possible is getting a takedown on Jack, getting him to the floor and submitting him. That's what I think Islam's path of least resistance is for this fight. You know, I think he could do that to Jack very easily. I mean, I know people were saying, like, and I know I watched the fight with Jack and Belal Muhammad, and, you know, Jack was showcasing good defense against Belal's wrestling. But that's Belal, you know what I mean? Belal's he's a good wrestler, but he's not a Makhachev style. He's he's not a Makhachev caliber of wrestler. Makhachev's a fucking different breed when it comes to that wrestling. Like, Belal has sort of learnt from him and learnt from those lads. And, you know, Belal went to, like, didn't he go to Dagestan and train with them for a bit? But he's just dipped his toe into that training for a little while. But Makhachev's been doing this his whole life, you know what I mean? And he's like, it's in him. It's part of his fucking his fighting genetics to be this good of a wrestler, you know. Like, and Belal's just kind of learnt this stuff, like, and he was good in his own right as a wrestler, but he's not the pedigree. What I'm trying to say that Makhachev is. So whether Jack can defend those takedowns like he was doing against Belal, and Belal did eventually get some takedowns off, if I remember rightly, like towards the back end of the fight. But I just think Islam could just pretty much get Jack down. I mean, saying that, I'm just fucking second guessing myself as I'm talking here, but like, we all seen how well Volkanovski did at defending the takedown, and in the first meeting with Makhachev, you know, he was actually doing really well, and when he did get taken down, he was surviving on the ground. You know, there was that moment when, you know, Makhachev had his back, and Volkanovski was just kind of, you know, just sitting in that position with Makhachev taking his back and just kind of relaxing and, you know, trying to hit Makhachev in the head, waiting for his moment to explode and get top position and, you know, get ground and pound. So, you know, it's not to say Jack can't do that. He's got to be like, you know, one of those, as soon as you get taken down, instantly trying to get back up, instantly. Don't just sit there and drop to your back and look to close the guard and put the fucking body triangle on. You know, you've got to be like getting onto a hip, going to a knee, trying to get like up to your feet as quickly as possible, and the whole time making sure you don't fucking leave your neck there for Makhachev to snatch. You know, he's good at a guillotine, he's good at that short arm dash that he does, that he got Moicano with. You know, you hang that neck out there, he's going to get it, you know. But one thing I like that Jack was doing, and I wish more people would do this, I don't see anyone else doing this as much, but when Jack was fighting Belal, Jack was throwing and feinting jabs to the body. I think that was a really good strategy, that, and he was doing it early on. First of all, you should just be jabbing to the fucking body anyway. I know people just throw jabs to the head, just because that's what you're just supposed to do, jab the head, you know, fucking that. We never think of jabbing to the body. It's such a good fucking technique, and the reason why I think it was working against Belal, because when you fucking change levels to jab to the body, you've already changed levels because you're jabbing to the body. So if they fucking try and think about going for takedowns, you're already there to try and kind of like get your arms under and go for the underhooks and try and sprawl or thwart the takedown. You're already there. But if you're just throwing jabs from like standing position going to the head, they're just going to go underneath it, you know what I mean? And Jack was doing that really well against Belal, throwing the jab to the body, even just feinting it. It doesn't have to actually connect with it, you know. But even if you start connecting with jabs to the body, it opens up some shots up top, you know what I mean? Jab to the body, right straight to the head, you know what I mean? You could go jab to the body, right straight to the body, you know, it's just building off the jab. You know, they always say in boxing that they build off the jab, so why not do that while you go into the body as well? It's just a good strategy, I think. I think more people should do that, where it's like striker versus wrestler. Fucking jab that body, you know what I mean? You're already there to try and at least defend a takedown. Why not do it? Better than doing it than not doing it and just getting taken down with no fucking... no offering of a defensive movement, you know. Like, I was really pleased to see Jack doing that. You know, what's Makhachev's conditioning going to be like bulking up? This is one thing I'm interested in when people bulk up. You know, is their cardio going to be less? You know, obviously they gain maybe power. I don't know, but you know, Makhachev looked like he was fading a little bit at the end of that first Volkanovski fight, but we've not really seen that since. You know, nobody's took Makhachev into deep waters since that fight. You know, we've not gone to the 25-minute mark. You know, Makhachev got Moicano out of there easy. He finished Volkanovski early in the rematch. So we didn't even, you know, get to the championship rounds. I'm just me. Times are just fucking. I mean, Makhachev as well. For one thing, I forgot to say when he's like, he's a different breed of wrestler to Belal. Like, Makhachev knows so many like trips and, you know, nice takedowns, like old school, like fucking, you know, Russian fucking rich. What are they called? Like fucking arm drags and shit, and fucking wrist snap takedowns. There's a few videos of online, you know, early in his career of, you know, training with DC and doing these old school, like very rare, you know, takedowns in the gym. You know, he's got a crafty toolbox of takedowns and ways of getting you to the ground, and obviously his control on the ground is fucking phenomenal. You know, yeah, I think he can submit Jack. I think if he lands on Jack, he might be able to knock him out. Like I say, it depends if any power's translated over. I think Jack could definitely knock out Islam if he lands on him, but it's whether he's going to be able to land on him. You know, as soon as Islam's smart enough to know that if he knows he's starting to lose the exchanges on the feet, he can just change it up and just go to the ground. You know, he's got that fail-safe in his back pocket, you know what I mean, at all times. If it's not working well for him on the feet, start closing the distance, get the fight to the ground, you know what I mean? And but Jack has kind of like he doesn't have that luxury. His way to win is to put a beating on Islam, you know, like, and he's not going to out-wrestle Islam, I don't think, and win the fight that way. I'll be fucking super surprised if that turns out, but I think that's highly unlikely. I'm rooting for Jack to win. I really want Jack to win this, but I'm going to be a cunt and pick against the lad. I always say this in my prediction videos, I'm always torn against head and heart. Who do I want to win with me heart? Like, who do I want to win as a fan? Obviously, that's Jack, but me head steps in and goes, who do you think logically is going to win this fight? On paper, who's got the fucking, you know, the checks in the checkbox to actually realistically come away winning this fight? And I think it's Makhachev. I think Makhachev's probably going to beat him, and it might be an early submission, I think. I mean, you know, like I was saying earlier, what kind of Makhachev is going to come out? Is it going to be path of least resistance Makhachev, where he just tries to get this fight to the ground early, get the submission early, take as little damage as possible? Or does he try and showcase, I'm good at this weight, I'm going to showcase all the tools, I'm not scared to strike with Jack, I'm going to kickbox with him, and I'm going to knock Jack out. I can do whatever I want to him, basically. Is he going to come in with that attitude, and he's not even worried about getting first round finishes? He's just going in there and he's just going to perform. It doesn't matter what round it ends in. Who knows? But I'm going to say Makhachev, and I'm going to go for a submission victory for Makhachev. And I could see it being something like an arm submission. So, like, I don't know how Islam submitted Dan Hooker with a Kimura. Something like that. Or maybe Jack leaves his neck out there as he's trying to scramble. Or Islam takes the back and then maybe wraps up the neck. But I'm going to lock it in, and I'm going to go Makhachev by submission. And I'm going to say, I mean, I could also see this being an anticlimactic fucking first round finish for Makhachev. I mean, it's not anticlimactic, obviously, if you're rooting for Makhachev to win. But, like, I could see this being a short fight, and, you know, everyone who's rooting for Jack being, like, really disappointed he got finished in the first round. I hope that's wrong. I hope it's a fucking 5-round fucking knock him down, drag him out, fucking slugfest. You know, like, the fights I always fucking like. Oh, big knee up the middle there, getting fucking caught up on the action, what's going on screen. Is this going to be a reality of what happens in the fight? You know, in the last footage we've seen, it was Islam getting a submission, and now Jack's almost finishing this fight with a knee to the face. Look at this. I'm going to lock it in. Islam Makhachev, maybe, that's not a lock-in kind of way of fucking saying things. I'm going to go Islam Makhachev by submission in, let's say, back end of the first round, early second round, something like that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Jack can do it. I'm rooting for it, but like I say, this is one of the most difficult first title defenses from anyone I've seen in a long time. You know, this is full-on hard mode difficulty for Jack. You know, there's no harder opponents in any of the rosters that you could have fucking been put against here. Maybe Chimaev, I don't know, but, like, Islam's fucking way better than Chimaev in all areas, I think. But yeah, I feel bad picking against Jack. I always feel bad picking against the ones I actually want to win. But like I say, it's always a case of head and heart, and I've got to go logically with who I think is gonna win. But obviously, if Jack beats him, I'll fucking lose me shit. Like I'll be made up for him. Not only that he's the one that actually finally, I don't know, Islam's been KO'd before really in his UFC career, but that was such a long time ago. But for someone to finish Makhachev in the modern era, and for that to be Jack that does it, potentially, you know, that'll be incredible for Maddalena fans. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Makhachev's going to get him. I mean, oh, Makhachev's getting his fucking shit pushed in again for the second time in this fight, just as we round out this. Oh, that couldn't have come at a better time. Over. We've got two scenarios there of what might happen in the fight. Islam getting a submission or Jack putting a beating on Makhachev. And that was nicely timed there towards the end of the video. I'm just like about to wrap this predictions video up. Let me know in the comments who have you got, who are you rooting for, what are your predictions, who's going to win, how are they going to win, all that good stuff. Love having a bit of back and forth with you in the comments. Starting to get a few regulars now commenting on some fights and stuff like that. And thanks very much to me patrons, by the way, all 5 of you lads are legends. Really appreciate that. And enjoy the, well, when I'm saying enjoy the fights, I'm going to have another video up. Well, enjoy the fights anyway, but I'm going to have another video up by then. I normally put my prediction videos up on the day before the fights, but I thought I'd put this up a bit earlier. And I'll see you on Friday with some more with the UFC Undisputed Forever career mode. Alright, I'll leave it there. It's enough waffling. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra.